Welcome to this special video. Instead of making Return to Castle Wolfenstein, playing levels, I decided to, kind of tell the Return to Castle Wolfenstein history, or maybe not lore, because that would be kind of boring, because most of you already know. Like, not kidding. If you at least played the game single player. Hello, does that ring a bell? Other than enemy territory. I'm gonna be telling the Return to Castle Wolfenstein history from 2001 to 2022. Pretty much every year, I'm just gonna say, per every year, what pretty much changed Return to Castle Wolfenstein and all. So yeah, let's hop right into the video. It's 2001, and Return to Castle Wolfenstein gets released. Now, this is Return to Castle Wolfenstein, and I'm gonna be talking about the Steam version and the old original version. I'm not gonna be talking about the console ports. Keep that in mind, okay? So this was basically Return to Castle Wolfenstein 2001. We had this. There was no multiplayer at the time. So basically only had single player. I'm just gonna click bring them on. Yeah, so 2001 Return to Castle Wolfenstein was released. It got several updates, although most of them were bug fixes and stuff.
Silo, the very first map ever created for Return to Castle Wolfenstein outside of the original's release with the game. Full of exciting, useless stuff. The developer of this map was a real genius. He can make it so you can shoot the boxes and they break. Oh man, that is so much fun. It gets me so pumped every time I do it. Instead of opening doors, you gotta break them down. Yeah! What is greater than that? The objective to the map is pretty simple. Allies gotta destroy two things. They're both called the same thing, the silo controls.
Now, enemy territory in 2003 was released, and oh boy, this game was really good. Everyone played it, everyone loved it. It was a free multiplayer shooter, and it became a hit in no time. So 2003, everything fine. Then 2004, 2005, and the first mods to enemy territory were released in 2005 and 2006. And when mods started to be released to Return to Castle Wolfenstein enemy territory, well, then almost every server only run on mods, and currently now there's only one server which doesn't run on mods, and that's pretty funny to me. I think it's called Herrentot, if I'm not wrong, and that's pretty funny because the thing was that if for new players there was a problem, because for new players, if they just never ever played enemy territory, then they wouldn't understand anything at all with the mods, so they would most likely quit playing enemy territory. And that was one of the reasons why enemy territory kind of had a fall down, and then everyone mostly forgot about this game, because then at the end mostly then just there were mods and mods which modified the game completely, and I wouldn't say it destroyed the game, but it just made it harder to understand for new players. So that was mostly the reason why it died. Does the name Imms Alucard just maybe ring the bell? Just maybe? Well, Imms Alucard has the oldest Let's Play to Return to Castle Wolfenstein. This was released 14 years ago in 2009. Yes, there's an even older video which was released 15 years ago. I have found a video that was like 15 years ago uploaded of Return to Castle Wolfenstein, although I couldn't find it, which was released in 2008. And this was Let's Play was released in 2009, the first episode of it. Now 2010 to 2011 didn't had really interesting content, although 2010-2011 was mostly run by the community. Like always, Return to Castle Wolfenstein is just always ran mostly by the community, and 2010-2011 were pretty much was the time where people actually started or were more interested in actually uploading videos, which is pretty cool. And you can see some really old videos, and this is the breakthrough where people started, as I said, uploading more videos, and Return to Castle Wolfenstein just grew a bit with popularity. Now 2012 was the year where there were more better mods released. As you can see, this is the oldest ever video I have found of showcasing a mod, and it was made by himself with a better texture of an MP40. And yes, this is a pretty old mod. It's called Runaway Mod Work in Progress #4 by Interruptor. So yeah, if you are interested, maybe there is already this mod release. I might even make a little playthrough through it. And this is a pretty interesting one. Yes, this is like the oldest ever mod showcase thing. Probably. Nah, just kidding. This is the oldest one. In 2013 or somewhere around 2014, one of these years, a legend is born called Helberon. You might not know who he is, but does Venom ring a bell? Or maybe Venomod, does it ring a bell now? Yes, he's the creator of Venomod, pretty much one of the most popular mods ever. And yes, this mod is older than real Return to Castle Wolfenstein. Now, the year 2015 doesn't have any interesting news, so I rather would skip this year. I would rather talk about 2016. And why 2016? Because this is the oldest version of real Return to Castle Wolfenstein ever, and it was called Return to Castle Wolfenstein Remastered back then, when Wolf players started the project. Now, this mod became huge, and this is how it somewhere looked around. This is the first ever Return to Castle Wolfenstein version. And I gotta say, this looks pretty dang good, even if it was just made for a video. And yes, he just made this for a video. Well, the graphics aren't really any super better. The only thing, the interface is just different and has way more options and has way better textures. For example, the loading screen, as you can see, is changed. And this video, from now on, when he's gonna start the level, is mostly edited. You can see from back then, this mod didn't really aim to make the graphics better. It was rather just to make, the interface better. And yes, the video later is edited, so it doesn't come from the real Return to Castle Wolfenstein mod. But I still thought this would have been a pretty important moment to Return to Castle Wolfenstein's history. And it's Wolf Player. This is an amazing dude. You should definitely go to subscribe to him. This is he's a super good man. Not kidding at all. Now, in 2017, which didn't seem like an important year, I mean, there were amazing mods released, but then in 2017 was pretty much the first video Yashik ever uploaded. This would have been one of his first ever journeys, Project 51, and this is somewhere around that Yosh came into the community. And Yoshik is a very important person. He even was participating in Return to Castle Wolfenstein version 4, which is now released. And he's a talented modder and mapper. And I have to agree on it. I mean, he's super important to our community. Yeah, so another channel which was created in 2017 was this guy. And this is also a pretty famous modern Return to Castle Wolfenstein Let's Player. At first he made Return to Castle Wolfenstein walkthroughs, then he made little mod playthroughs, and he made a lot of modded playthroughs, like holy crap. So yeah, it took him a lot of work to actually, get like 1,000 views on these, Let's Plays on Return to Castle Wolfenstein. And these Let's Plays are pretty good. Like the first Let's Play that made him mostly popular was Age of Horror. And just look by the views. Like, wow. It's really cool. So yeah. And then he did other videos, and yeah, and Age of Horror was always his most, well-known series. That's what I remember for him. So yeah, 2017 was World 2. Pretty famous. Well, Yoshik being more important, but still this being a pretty popular person. Now, this event may have already happened some years before, but some people don't remember. Mostly in 2018. This is probably the year which all of the mods from Gamefront, like back then most people would upload the Return to Castle Wolfenstein mods on Gamefront, but in 2018 this is where Gamefront mods Return to Castle Wolfenstein died. This is where mod DDB came in place, which is probably the most known place to download Return to Castle Wolfenstein mods. So yeah, and this really, I mean, the death of Gamefront Return to Castle Wolfenstein mods happened, I think, a bit before, but in 2018 I think was the year where no one remembers Gamefront. Maybe people that, like, maybe even Yoshik might remember this site, but now it's just mod DDB. 2020 to 2022. This is where the biggest downfall to Return to Castle Wolfenstein started, and there was so much less Return to Castle Wolfenstein content. So though there are games that are mostly run because the game gets updated, and there are games that are mostly run by the community. And Return to Castle Wolfenstein is a game that has been mostly always ran by the community. And especially these days, there's not a lot of Return to Castle Wolfenstein content created. But I do have daily content, so if you want to check out some other videos, here are some other videos you might just enjoy. Thank you for watching for this super special episode, which took me a lot of hours to edit, and goodbye.